and I'll turn it over to you. Okay? All right, good evening, everyone. And tonight we have a public hearing at 625 property valuation tax rate, and I'll recognize Finance Director Susan Helton. Susan, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, tonight is the second reading of the ordinance, which will set the property tax rate. KRS 132.027 requires that any time a tax rate is levied that exceeds the compensating rate, the city must hold a public hearing to hear comments from the public regarding the proposed tax rate. So that is what we are doing this evening. And just as a refresher, the compensating rate refers to the rate that would produce the same amount of revenue from real property as the previous year if applied to current assessments, excluding new property. So for 2024, the compensating rate is 8.6 cents per $100 of assessed value. The rate that is being voted on this evening is 8.9 cents. So we are exceeding the compensating rate, but I will also point out that the proposed rate, even while it is greater than the compensating rate, is still 0.6 cents below the 2023 rate of 9.5 cents per $100. So with that, I will turn it over to public comment if anyone has anything they would like to comment on.
Would any members of the public like to comment during the public hearing on the proposed ad valorem and property tax rates? You're welcome, Ms. Workman. Any additional comments during the public hearing? We'll keep this open just for a minute or two because I see some people in the lobby. And just to make sure. So you all bear with us. We'll just sit tight for a couple of minutes and then we'll close it out. Still give it a minute just to be sure. Okay, seeing no additional comments, Susan, do you need to do anything to close out, or I will ask the council if they have any questions for Susan or comments before we close the hearing. Seeing none, we will, without objection, we'll close the hearing and we'll reconvene in our open session at 6:30 p.m. Actually, 25 seconds. All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6:30. I'll call the meeting to order with a quorum being present. At this time, I will recognize Cora Jane Wilson to lead us in the invocation, followed by Ronnie Terrell with the Pledge of Allegiance. Cora Jane.
Heavenly Father, thank you for your goodness, your love, and your mercy. We thank you, God, for every blessing that you bestow upon us and our city. Heavenly Father, I pray that you would bless each council member. Help us, Lord, to make the right decisions for the city, what's best for our citizens, our taxpayers, and to do, God, what is right in your eyes also. Lord, we thank you. I ask you to just be with us the rest of the remainder of this meeting. And God, be with us each and every time we make a decision. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cora, Jane, and Ronnie. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Steve Cottle, is there a second? By Katie Startzman. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries and the agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the August 6, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion to approve? By Jim Davis and a second by Jerry Little. Any discussion, corrections, or changes for the minutes? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from August 6, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is chemical weapons disposable update, and it's been a while, but I'm very happy to welcome back Craig Williams, who updates us periodically, and Craig is the program director at Kentucky Environmental Foundation. Craig, you have the floor. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me back. It's been quite a while, and as everyone knows, all the weapons have been safely disposed of at the Bluegrass Army Depot. I started on that project 40 years ago, and it ended last month, so we're all very happy about that. I wanted to brief you on the current status of things, since there is a lot still going on there, even though the weapons themselves have been disposed of. Each of you have a handout in front of you, and we'll start with the closure phase, which is on the second page. Bluegrass Chemical Agent Pilot Plant closure. The main plant section of the footprint on which all the equipment and all the operations took place is currently under disposal or identification for recovery and reuse by some other aspect of the Bluegrass Depot's mission. Inside the plant itself, all the piping, instrumentation is being removed from the agent neutralization system, which is in a separate part of the building. The protective coating is being removed from all the concrete floors. Unventilated monitoring is in progress to confirm that no agent vapors remain within any of the areas where agent was present. And the hydrolysate storage area tanks are being cleaned up and to be reused by the depot or by an entity that comes in and occupies the footprint of the BG cap. Next slide is about safety. I had a meeting with some high-ranking Bechtel Parsons people on Thursday of last week. And the accident rating for this operation has been extraordinary. There have been no agent-related injuries over the 3.5 years of operation with the most dangerous chemicals ever produced, explosively configured in these weapons. It's quite a remarkable accomplishment. The lost time accident rate is 100% lower than the industrial average. And as of the 30th of June, the project has completed 14 million plus hours and over 1,752 days without a lost time accident, almost 5 years. Now, each time we have a commission meeting, they show the rate of accidents compared to other types of workforce places. This facility that did its job has a lower accident rate than a bank teller. And so if you think about all the munitions that were handled during this period and all the things that could have gone wrong and everything, it's just an extraordinary safety record that these people have accomplished. And a lot of the workforce was from right here. The economic impact currently is there are currently 1,260, give or take a few, since I made these slides a week and a half ago, employees on the project or in the mall office working for the contractors or their subcontractors. Close to 50% of the workforce is local hire. Through July, over $240 million have been spent on Kentucky corporations, with almost 120 million within the Bluegrass Area Development District. Through July of this year, over $1.355 billion in payroll has been paid to the workforce and the contractors and the military side of things that are involved in the project. So it's a significant amount of money, a significant number of people. You okay, Cora? Okay. I thought that number of employees was choking you up, maybe. That's the current status. Reuse and removal. The current status is as follows. Any infrastructure that came into contact with agent during the processing will be demolished. And that includes the munitions handling building, the munitions disposal building, probably the control room, because it's immediately adjacent to the destruction operational part of the building, and other parts of that building will be razed. The supercritical water oxidation units are slated for disposal, but we are urging reconsideration of that recommendation from the alternatives program for the following reason. There's been about $301 million spent of taxpayer money on the supercritical water oxidation process at that facility. SQUO, supercritical water oxidation, has been identified by the EPA as the #1 technology treatment for PFAS toxicity, which is better known as the forever chemicals. There's been a lot of press about PFAS these days. The EPA has now elevated its toxicity to potentially hazardous, even though everyone knows it's hazardous. It'll get ratcheted up in the next several months, I'm sure. But interestingly enough, the Army has also commissioned a study to be done at all of the United States depots, including Bluegrass, to identify and figure out what to do with the PFAS contamination at all of those depots. With $300 million invested in the biggest SQUO units in the world sitting out at Bluegrass, we have launched, when I say we, the Kentucky Environmental Foundation and my colleagues in other networks have launched a informational effort to the local elected officials as well as our congressional delegation to have the Army and the Defense Department reconsider the preliminary decision to dispose of that technology. I was engaged with Capitol Hill on this issue this morning, and the people in charge of that decision at the Army level, the Joint Munitions Command out of Rock Island, and our congressional delegation are now discussing the situation. So I have been pushing really hard for that decision to be reconsidered. Not that we want the Bluegrass Depot to be a reception site for PFAS, because there's not much at Bluegrass, but some of these depots have a significant amount of PFAS, and to tear these units down and move them to a facility that has an extraordinary amount of this contamination makes a whole lot of sense, rather than scrapping $300 million worth of taxpayer paid for equipment. So that's something that I'm working on daily, actually. The SDCs, the static detonation chambers, which were used to destroy and is currently being used to destroy the contaminated rocket motors from the GB and VX M55 rockets. Those SDCs are still being used, and you'll see on the chart at the end of my presentation when those operations are slated to be over. Those SDCs have used up their life expectancy, and they will be disposed of appropriately when their mission is complete. We talked about very interestingly and very lengthy discussions about whether the SDCs could be used on the conventional side of the depot operations to eliminate the open burning and open detonation of conventional weapons that we all hear being blasted off in the distance a couple of times a year. I sit on a steering committee of a national organization who is trying to get open burn, open detonation banned nationwide, and particularly within the military, because there are alternative methods for disposing of these weapons, and they do release negative toxic material into the environment on a regular basis. We're working with that. The depot's been very cooperative with us, as has JMC, the Joint Material Command. Their commander, Colonel, now General Anderson, and I have discussed this many times. I think we're all on board as to the concept of having to eliminate this practice. The question is, how do we do it, and how do we do it fiscally as well? It's always about the money. Blowing this stuff up is pretty cheap, and burning stuff in the open is pretty cheap, but it's not good for the public health, and it's not good for the environment. So some non-contaminated buildings will remain and be used at Bluegrass Army Depot's discretion. And that would be things like the mechanical room, the maintenance room, the personnel building, the security buildings, and all this kind of stuff that has had nothing to do with chemical agent or the disposal process. Those will be reused by the depot in some form or fashion. There are also several new opportunities that are presenting themselves to maintain the viability and expand the mission of the depot, and therefore continue to support the local economy. There was a study done by JMC in August of '23, and out of the 14 opportunities that were identified for future operations, you see the top 4: production of metal shipping containers, which they already do out there; production of critical chemicals; security guard academy; and other. And the other are things that are already being discussed, and there are large defense contractors and private sector interests in moving on to the depot and doing certain types of tasks there. Because the discussions are preliminary and pre-decisional, I'm not at liberty to go into any detail about who's talking about doing what, but I hope to be able to do that in my next presentation next quarter, because we're very close on 2 of the opportunities that we're looking at right now in the context of the Bluegrass Army Depot. It will also, if these things work out, it will also provide an increased buffer against BRAC, which is the base realignment and closure process by which depots and other military bases are closed for various reasons. Once the chemical weapons are gone, there are people that are concerned that the depot will be closed down entirely. These new operations coming in would help prevent that, and they're a big employer, of course. And finally, you can see the scale, sorry, the chronology of where we're at now and where we're gonna go. You can see on the second bar, the GB contaminated drained rocket warheads. That's what's being used, that's what the SDCs are being used for right now. That is anticipated to be over in March of '25. The VX contaminated and drained rocket warheads are slated to be disposed of around that same time. The non-contaminated rocket motors are also anticipated to be disposed of in the March '25 timeline. Then you'll see on the top bar, the main plant demolition and decision-making on reuse or repurposing, excuse me, will reach out till February 27. Administrative closure, that's the final, thank you, Ronnie. That's the final piece that has to be done for this entire operation. And what that means is that all of the decisions on what has to be demolished, what has to be reused, and all of those actions have been completed, and all of the permits have been fulfilled. KDEP handles all the permitting and regulatory oversight of this project. They have the final say as to when it's over and finished. And on the day that the last permit is signed off on, that's when the project is over. And for that particular date, we're looking at August of 2027. But I would point out that there are no agent-contaminated materials left after March of 2025. So what they're treating now is contaminated materials that have a de minimis amount of agent inside some of these containers, because when they drained them, it didn't all drain out. There's some vapor in some of them, and there's some actual agent in some of them, but minuscule amounts. But it's still what they call surety material. In other words, it's still part of the treaty oversight, it's still part of chemical warfare agent at the depot, but there's no explosive components with it. It's all overpacked in igloos being moved over and processed in the SDCs. So there will be no agent contamination on that depot as of March of next year. So that's where we are, and I appreciate your time and attention. And when I see you next time, I hope I can give you some information on some new businesses that are going to be coming into the depot proper, and will hopefully result in some satellite operations off post as well. So thank you. I'll take any questions.
Good, thank you, Craig. Questions for Craig? Questions for Craig? Craig, thanks again.
Thank you,
Always a
Mr.
pleasure to have you here. Also, on behalf of all of us and the citizens, thank you for your advocacy over several decades, for keeping the community informed, including elected officials, but also the community as a whole. We're lucky to have you, and we're lucky to have you in Berea too. So thank you. You're always welcome back, and we'll look forward to your next visit.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. You want to drink out of this? Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is Berea Chamber of Commerce update, and I'm very happy to introduce to you, if you haven't met her, Danielle Valancourt, new executive director, or relatively new, who's going to do a presentation. And I'll also note that several of the officers are here, and including Ethan Lake. So I see Ethan coming on up, and you guys have the floor together.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Fraley, City Administrator Rose Beverly, and as well as the council members for having us here this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ethan Lake, and while I am a loan officer at Whitaker Bank here in town just down the road, I also have the pleasure to serve on the board of directors as president-elect for the Berea Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is vital to our community. We advocate and promote the business community in Berea by creating a common place for business people such as myself and many of you to collaborate on various projects, needs, and events throughout our town. With that being said, it was imperative that the Chamber of Commerce invest in leadership to ensure the mission and vision of the Chamber is executed on a daily basis. It was important that we as a board diligently select and hire a suitable candidate that would take our organization to greater heights. For several months, we as a board and an executive committee met with candidates and constantly reminded ourselves to take our time to find the right fit. And it is my pleasure, along with other members of the board here today, to announce that we did just that. So today, I would like to introduce to you our new Executive Director of the Berea Chamber of Commerce, Danielle Valancourt.
Thank
you all so much for allowing us to speak today and just welcoming us. Once again, my name is Danielle. I'm honored to be named as the new executive director of the Chamber. With a background in marketing and a passion for community engagement, I'm excited to bring fresh perspectives and innovative strategies to support Berea's businesses and economic growth. I look forward to fostering a strong relationship let me step back here, relationship between the Chamber and the City Council as we work together to promote a thriving community. In the past 2 months of accepting this position, I have gotten to know so many of you all at recent events and gatherings, and I'm thankful for the warm welcome that those of you have given me. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you that I've not officially met in the near future. In the last week or so, the Chamber has made the announcement that we are hosting a meet and greet event on August 29th at 6 p.m. At Churchill's, and we have invited all of those who will be running for City Council. This is a public event, and we are excited to see each and every one of you. The response you all have given us has been amazing, and I look forward to an amazing event with the community. We have hosted several ribbon cuttings with wonderful businesses around Berea and have many more on the books. We encourage all of you all to attend those, and if you do not have our newsletter in your email, we encourage you to look to join our email list because we post all of those there and also on our Facebook. We also have our monthly meetings every Thursday, every third Thursday for all of our members to join. It's just a wonderful afternoon of networking and just community involvement between all of the businesses here. We would love to have you all attend those as well. And if there's any opportunity to collaborate or if you all have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm eager to learn how we can help and just benefit Berea as a community. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Ethan. We'll ask if there are any questions for our friends from the Chamber of Commerce from the council. Cora?
Yes, Spoonbread is in the works. There's a lot of planning that goes into that, but we are excited to host that on the third weekend of September. So any volunteer opportunities that you all would like to engage in, we would love to have your help. And just plan. Help us to get everything lined out. So I've got a wonderful board of directors that have been fantastic and have opened their arms as well and have done everything that they can to help out. So thank you.
Other questions or comments for Danielle, for our friends from the Chamber? And I'll note that the Chamber office is in the front of this building at 304 Chestnut Street. So nice space up there, and we're glad to have you guys in the building. Thanks again for the update. You're always welcome. We'll look forward to Spoonbread. I know Ronnie Terrell will look forward to dishing out the Spoonbread. For some reason, he always wants to be the banker. He wants to handle the money. So don't know why that is, but that seems to be traditional.
Sticky Baker.
So we'll look forward to working with you there, and we will have a volunteer team from the council there to help serve on Saturday, I believe.
Thank you all so much.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ethan. All right. Moving forward, the next item on the agenda is resolution number 08-2024, Kentucky Cleaner Water Program Grant Assistance number 2. I'll recognize Corporate Counsel Jerry Gilbert.
I'll summarize resolution number 08-2024 by title. Resolution of the City of Berea accepting the grant, approving the grant assistance agreement, authorizing the amendment of the city's annual budget, and authorizing a representative to sign all related documents.
And this is resolution number 08-2024. I would request a motion to approve and
So
adopt.
moved.
By
Second.
Steve Cottle, second by Jim Davis. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 08-2024? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 08-2024, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the resolution is approved and adopted. And Kevin, you're free to proceed there. Thank you. We're looking forward to getting that project together. Kevin, would you like to give just maybe a 2-minute very brief on what this cleaner water grant is for? Because the important part is this is something that'll help us upgrade not only our water but also sewer infrastructure to make sure that we have clean groundwater that's running back into our creeks and streams. So if you'd like to take a minute or two, please.
Okay, so this is, the cleaner water round one, if you remember, was, I think, 578 and some change at the grant. It's, both of these are with the, American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, I think 2021, 2022. Cleaner water round one, we've identified that to be used at Brushy Fork, sewer shed. Round two will be, upgrade of the Highway 595 pump station. That pump station, as you know, it's where majority of our growth is happening right now in Berea on the northern exit. So we've been working with our engineers to come up with the design plan for that. This grant was, I think, $958,000 and some change on round two. The funds do have to be spent down by December 31st of 2026. So we are nearing final design on that project.
We're on our way, 2 different projects, this one being the most recent, and all improvements to our sewer and water infrastructure. So Kevin, appreciate your work on that with the help of the Bluegrass Area Development District. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. You may. Kevin, you're not off the hook yet.
Well, no, you might be able to answer it.
Okay, I'll try.
So I'm assuming since we're doing this resolution, like, do we, have we received the funds, or will they be coming soon, or is this something where we've been notified and we're gonna have to wait a long time still?
We
get
have
the
not
funds.
received the funds yet, and Kevin, you can jump in and help me. The resolution allows me to enter the agreement.
Got it.
So we're at that point where we're ready to move forward and put out an RFP. This will allow me to sign on behalf of the city. Have to do that since it has to be budgeted and go through the legislative process and the budget. But my understanding is, if I'm not mistaken, we spend the money and then get reimbursed. Is that correct, Kevin?
Correct.
So we actually have to spend the money through the existing funds that are within the utility fund, and then that's reimbursed by the state, correct, with federal funds, state
Yes.
approval? Federal funds, that goes to the Department of Local Government.
Right. So I
That's
just wanted to
process.
confirm, so like, you're able to like get rolling on this now?
We're still finalizing design.
Okay.
But this is just one of the steps that we need to do to go ahead, as Mayor Fraley said, and get the grant agreement, all the front end work of the grant taken care of. And I will add that both cleaner water round one and round two was identified in the budget, both on the capital expenditure and then on the revenue side on grant proceeds. So, okay.
Which required advocacy by Kevin and his team and city officials as well. So it's good to see this kind of funding coming back to our city. Okay, you're welcome. Kevin, thank you. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 17-2024, surplus sale, and this is a second reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Being the second reading, I'll summarize ordinance number 17-2024 by title. An ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing it to be sold.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Is there a motion to approve and adopt the ordinance number
So moved.
17? It's by Steve Cottle. Is there a second? Second by Jerry Little. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 17-2024? Are you ready for the question? Okay, we'll get started with a roll call vote. Ms. Startzman,
Aye.
Ms. Centers,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Terrell,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson, Mr. Cottle,
Aye.
and Mr. Little.
Aye.
Motion carries and ordinance number 17-2024 is approved and adopted. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 18-2024, ad valorem tax. This is a second reading.
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that an annual ad valorem tax for the city purposes and the general fund of said city in the sum of 8.9 cents upon each $100 for the assessed value of all real and personal property within the City of Berea, Kentucky, not otherwise exempt, is hereby levied and imposed upon the owners of said property, person or
This is the second reading, which would require a motion to bring it to the floor.
So moved.
By Steve Cottle, is there a second? Okay, have a motion and a second to approve and adopt ordinance number 18-2024. Is there any discussion? Jerry Little, did you want to speak on this? Okay, we'll come back to that in council comments if that's okay. All right, any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 18-2024? Seeing none, I'll request a roll call vote. This time we'll begin with Mr. Little. Aye. Mr. Cottle.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Terrell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Centers.
Aye.
And Ms. Startzman.
Aye.
Motion carries, and ordinance number 18-2024 is approved and adopted. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 19-2024, tourism revisions, and this is the second reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Ordinance number 19-2024 is summarized by title. An ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea by revising sections 22.800, providing for the separation of the Business Development Department from the Department of Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. This is the second reading. Is there a motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 19-2024?
So moved.
By Mr. Cottle, is there a second?
Second.
By Ronnie Terrell. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 19-2024? Teresa?
I just feel like this was kind of rushed maybe, and I would have appreciated having heard from the Tourism Commission on their thoughts before we actually went forward with this, but I don't feel strongly either way except to say that.
Thank you, Teresa. Any other discussion or comments related to the motion? Katie?
So this ordinance has language about tourism, but I don't see any language about business development. Can you explain what you're going to use for that?
Yes. Before the ordinance in 2020, there was no specific ordinance related to business and tourism development. That had basically been a position that had been filled at the pleasure of the mayor and council. So not all of our departments would have an ordinance related to them. So basically the code of ordinances as a whole was silent on the economic development position prior to
Got it.
the 2020 ordinance that combined the two departments.
And so so I'm understanding correctly though that since we have a position staffed in business development in our budget, that's all we need as far as a business development position?
Yes, and that can be amended at any time if we need to change that. We also do have an economic development consultant that helps us with our
Right.
larger business recruitment and development activities that has helped us
Yeah.
very much, has done very well. So that was one of the trade-offs that was made back in 2019, and it has continued through today. And from my perspective, has been a very good investment for the city. But that's certainly that's at the purview of the
I'm just
legislative
curious.
body, and it could be added to in the future, certainly.
Got it. Thank you.
But I do expect us to continue to have a active and vibrant economic development department as a whole. Thank you. Good questions. Other discussion, comments, or questions on the motion to approve and adopt the ordinance?
I have a comment.
Cora Jane, go right
Question.
ahead.
First of all, let me say I am not opposed of separating the two. So don't think that. But like Teresa, kinda how it came about, I wish the Tourism Council had been more involved. And I guess even us kind of if we could have had a meeting prior to or whatever, just to discuss and kind of know what's going to happen and not feel like that it's sprung on us, maybe. If that's a good word. That's an old-fashioned one. I'm being laughed at. But that's okay. But anyway, that's all I have to say, that I think in future times we need to talk and discuss and before we do things.
Thank you, Corjane. Any additional comments on the motion, Katie?
Just one clarifying question. In section 3, there's a lot of strike-throughs for other employees that the position will be responsible for managing. Is that because there's more general language in the first paragraph of section 3 saying they will supervise the program managers? And that A, B, and C, the specific program managers,
Yes, and that allows.
that doesn't affect those roles? It's
No,
just
it
kind of
doesn't
cleaning
affect
up the
the-
language?
Correct.
Okay.
It doesn't affect the existing positions at all. In fact, one of those has been changed. We had a program manager for communications at one time that's now a media manager. Just offers more flexibility, but still, all those positions must be budgeted, and they would still be supervised by the department, correct? Any further discussion, comments, or questions on motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 19-2024? Seeing none, I'll request a roll call vote and begin with Ms. Startzman,
Aye.
Ms. Centers,
No.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Terrell, Ms. Wilson,
No.
Mr. Cottle,
Aye.
and Mr. Little. Motion carries, and ordinance number 19-2024 is approved and adopted. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is department head reports, and I'm happy to welcome back Donna Angel, our Director of Business and Tourism Development, for her update. Donna, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Administrator, Ms. Beverly, and council members. Always like to start with good positive things, so it's always a joy when I can announce that we have new businesses in our city. So year to date, we have averaged out with 30 new businesses in our city, so that's really great news. We've had, to my knowledge, 6 business closures. However, the good news to those is that we have 4 of those that have already pre-leased and with new businesses coming in their spots, and with plans for the next 2 as well on the table. So we're pleased to keep that going here. On the small business side, I do want to take a moment and remind us all that our small business is what our city is built on here. We are known for that across the nation. It doesn't matter where you come from or what city, it's always about the small business here. And what a charming, great little town we have. So that's wonderful. But I do want to go back and reflect on some of the small businesses that we have here. This summer we got to celebrate Reynolds Insurance, Mr. Paul Reynolds and family, of 50 years of business in our town. That's quite remarkable. Today we celebrated Dinner Bell of 40 years of business here with us as well. Davis and Powell Funeral Home, we got to celebrate an expansion of their facility, and they're probably 50 years or more, Jim, I'm sure. So that's all a good sign there. We also got to celebrate this summer the Bria's Farmers Market that had 50 years of Bria's service right here in our town as well. And we also got to recognize that we've had multiple articles written about our small business entrepreneurs here in our city. So I just want to take a moment to just thank all of the businesses in town that have been just major supports and pillars of continuing in our community. I'll report just briefly on a report that I received from the Kentucky Housing Corporation, which always has wonderful news. Plus they had a great KET show the other night. If anyone got to watch that, it was very informative and updated. We've worked with Miss Adrienne Bush many times here in Berea, through our Room in the Inn program and other small grants that we have written. So some of the things that I wanted to highlight that she spoke of, compliments go to our own Amanda Haney, our codes director, because she has spoken many times to us about the housing in Berea, and she's been super proactive about acting on things that have made a difference here. One of the things that she did talk about, Ms. Bush stated that within 5 years, the housing market across Kentucky will see 500,000 homes short due to the expansion of the growth of the state. We see it every day through the inquiries we get for industrial sites and other projects that people are looking at. So when those industries come here, we must have homes for these people. The commute is now becoming an issue that some of the industry managers are looking at for travel time back and forth, quality of life time with families, what they're giving up when they're commuting from Lexington or Georgetown to Berea. So I want to take a moment to recognize and thank a lot of our builders, not a lot, but all of our builders and contractors here in our city and Richmond as well, that have really stepped up and worked closely with our codes department to find ways to reduce the home prices, but yet make it more attainable as well as affordable, to be able to have a home of less here in our city. So Oak Street is a positive direction. I do believe the homes there are absolutely adorable, and I think they'll be a perfect need. So I think everyone has just really jumped on the wagon to start the process of building more homes. We see it right here in Berea, at Stony Creek, and other areas where we continue to build and grow our neighborhoods. So it will continue to grow, and we need to grow and have more homes here. So I just wanted to share that with you. As we see the housing, some of that downsizing in size of the homes, that is because one of the comments that Ms. Bush made the other night was that today our average home family, believe it or not, for our Berea area is 2 adults, 2 children. So with that being said, the average income, of course, is a bit lower than we are compared to other cities and states out there, but our average family household income, not median income, but household income, is barely at $68,779. So we hope to see that raise with some of our industry that's bringing in more higher end industry positions that are going to be required with all the robotics that we're seeing today. So we look forward to seeing what that can help move our numbers up as well. Due to the downsizing of the homes and the spaces that people don't really want for homes anymore, the 1 acre yards that Mr. Davis doesn't want anymore, has also come the need for more storage buildings. So I receive a few comments on that weekly, but I think they're being built in good taste, and they are needed in our community. We went for a very long time with no storage buildings being built, as we did homes, so we're behind what we really should be at this point on having that for the families that are downsizing into smaller homes. They're going to be forced to either sell their homes or put items in storage until down the road other things come. Moving on to our industry, I do want to share that we are in good positions right now with employees for our workers here in our industrial park. Motor Wheel has hired 20 recently, so we're down to about 180 of their goal of what they want to see between 24 and 25. Hitachi Astemo is currently planning to put on 55 workers by the end of this year, with more to come with their future expansion. Hitachi Electric will be adding, and have already started to add, about 50 more employees there for a new contract that they have picked up in an expansion that we'll see coming soon with that. Kentucky Steel and KI USA both add comments that they too have added new product lines, so they are evaluating right now on the capacity of employees that they will be adding to their industry very quickly here, and new contracts they've accepted for product delivery as well. All good there. The Lane report keeps us all updated and keeps Madison County just flowing out there. We still remain, Kentucky is just one of the hottest states out there for recruiting and bringing industry into our state. We're gonna see more and more inquiries. It's everywhere. We don't see that slowing down, you know, in the next couple of years. So this, to me, is exciting because we can really have an opportunity to highlight our industrial park with the new acreage that we're working on clearing to get site ready build anyway. So that's all good there. I'm also going to go back on one of the things that we've talked about for several months now, and again, it goes back to Ms. Haney, and congratulations to her and her team for working on this. But going back to our industry, we now will be able to accommodate some of them in a better way with adding our fueling centers and for our truck drivers and so forth for delivery of product and picking up as well for distribution. So with the fueling centers, truck centers, service centers all being added, we have an opportunity there should we ever be approached about building something like that in our city, and should we have the appropriate land for them, will be a good opportunity and a good challenge that lies ahead of us there. Hitachi Astemo has added a medical clinic on their site called Evergreen, and that is for their employees and their families as well, with children 3 and above. That's a wonderful incentive, I think, for them to have done that. That was one of the research items that they had been working on for about 2 years on retention of their employees. So we all know what we pay for insurance, and I think they nailed it right there with their Harrodsburg plant and their Berea plant. The mayor, several people were there to help celebrate in the opening of the clinic, and it's extremely very, very nice. We continue to work with the state workforce through Bluegrass Ed, Kentucky Career Centers, the Workforce Innovation Board. We all continue to strive to keep our industries, whether it be Madison County, Richmond, Berea, completely satisfied and finding every way possible to fit their needs as well. One of the things that I think we spoke about it in our last council meeting was credit to Sean Selling, our fire chief, with the program and the pathway that we're going to be seeing coming through the Berea Community School System for our fire department. We don't think about the police and the fire. Police has a different avenue that they could go, but for fire department, we didn't really. So I think that is going to be a wonderful program that we're going to see great talent that will come out of there, and we won't ever have to worry about hiring replacements for Sean over there, maybe, you know. So Dr. Hatchett and Berea Community School, the team there, along with everyone here, just very much appreciative of the new pathway that we can roll out there to help recruit and retain employees for the future here. One of the things that through Bluegrass Ad, Workforce, Bechtel Parsons, and myself that we've agreed to do is to take our industrial HR managers and work with some of our Bechtel Parsons HR folks there. It has come to their attention that there are a lot of employees that are trained on one thing for many, many years. So they're excited to a point of discovering what else is out there that they could learn to do. So what we're going to go in and do is talk about all the new robotic systems that we have in place, the engineering pieces, and a different trade that they might have an interest in applying for. We want to grab all the employees before Richmond grabs them so that we keep Berea top notch there. But I think that's a really good thing, and we were very excited when Bechtel called and asked us to be a part with that. So very, very pleased with that. On the industrial side, I'll close also on that with our HR Managers Lunch and Learn series that we started this year here at City Hall. That has been quite successful because we always think we know everything, we're on top of everything, but sometimes we know nothing. So it's been really great for me personally to learn from each of them, their needs that I may have never thought about, and being able to find speakers or knowledge that can come from the state level and share that knowledge with these folks when we have our meetings here monthly. And we consistently get great compliments for doing that. We've had great speakers. We've had the State Cabinet Workforce Director himself, Second Chance Job Placement, State Cabinet of Innovation Board, the Hannah Group, BCTC President himself, Workforce Innovation Board on Equity and Inclusion, Health and Wellness instructors. We forget sometimes that the HR managers, they need a break also, and they need a little special attention. They go through a lot. So we included that with the team as well. And we'll wrap up tomorrow with an immigration law service. As we know, there are industries out there with immigration issues where we know that we have a lot of Japanese factories here, and sometimes those workers are coming from Japan and they stay here for 6 months or a year, but their families don't get to come with them. So we want to offer an opportunity there that maybe their families can start coming over with them if they're going to be long-term in that area. Moving on to tourism. Sorry. The Berea Tourism Center, the Welcome Center, welcomed 10,338 visitors this year to date. Motor coach buses, we had 14 year to date with 644 bus travelers. We have mailed out 120,000 brochures that have gone to 6 states other than the state of Kentucky, and 50,000 within our state for inquiries in different welcome centers and other tourism groups and convention bureaus that are out there. So that is the highest number that we've ever been asked to ship out. So that's a good thing. We've had 11 year-to-date day trips from different counties that have come here to visit the Welcome Center and have a day of festivities and learning crafts at the train station as well. So that's always pure joy for the tourism staff. They just love that. We also have a new commissioner, Berea Tourism Commissioner Donna Brewer from the Boone Tavern Hotel that joined us recently. So we're very pleased to work with her. We lost a previous Boone Tavern employee because they decided to go to work at EKU, and I don't understand that at all, but I won't comment on that, you know. But anyway, we're happy for both parties to be here with us. One of the things, too, that I wanted to remind us all, we lost good people this year from Top Drawer Gallery, Terry and Jerry Lou Fields, whom decided to retire and sell their business. So we're extremely happy, but we do miss them greatly. We have new owners of the Top Drawer Gallery, and that is Steve and Heather Johnson. They're doing a wonderful job down there, so I do wish that each of you would stop in and visit with them when you're in Old Town, just to let them know how much you appreciate. Terry was the first person that I worked with on trying to create a business succession plan. Instead of closing your business and going home, how about we recruit somebody and we train them to want to buy your store someday? So I didn't expect them to buy the store, but to continue running. So I'm extremely happy. They're wonderful people, and the shop is absolutely stunning as always. The tourism staff and I attended last month a Kentucky State Tourism Orientation Organizational Program. And I'm very pleased to see that we all got certified. So that was a great joy, and we learned a lot. So the staff is extremely proud and happy of that. So you might congratulate them when you see them out and about as well. They deserve that. The Chestnut Street Pavilion Summer Concert Series have been fabulous this year. This is our 3rd year of rolling those out. And each year has gotten bigger and bigger crowds, so what we draw doesn't take away from anybody else, but it is just, we always hear wonderful comments about having a place to go every Saturday night. So we're excited about those, and it's just great music, and it's always free to the community. So help spread the word on that when you can. This November, we will have a special performance, and we want to invite each one of you and the public. Madison Southern High School Band, which is fabulous, and they host the competition bands each year. So some of us got to attend that last year, and it was most impressive. Never saw so many people and things, but it was beautiful. But anyway, in November, the band will be doing a special performance just for Berea Tourism, and we are going to conduct it on the grounds of the school so that we have a lot of space to invite everybody to come out for that and show their support for that. The projects year-to-date that we've wrapped up, or maybe from the last report that I gave, the L&N Day Festival, always great. Berea Craft Festival, great. Celtic Festival, all wrapped up, great numbers and visitors, tourists that came into our city. So it's been a fast-paced summer with one backed up after another. The next group of festivals that we can all look forward to will be the Spoonbread Festival in September, the Kentucky Guild Fair in October, Make It, Take It, Give It classes in November and December, Shop Small Saturday, late November, early December, and closing out our year with our Mayor's Merry Mingling event, which continues as our concerts to grow. Great response and just a fun, beautiful Hallmark evening. One more thing, we have one of the new businesses I talked about that have been sold or leased out. We all know that we will be losing, well, actually as of last Saturday, we lost Michelle Weston, our glass blower. Such amazing talent and such a woman. She has been tremendous strength to our Festival of Learn Shops. She has taught endless classes, dropped everything to do them for us. She has been so good with the schools as we bring them in to host them, to watch and observe things like that. Michelle's Saturday was her last day, so it was kind of sad to see that, and I think she was very sad but very glad at the same time. She's given her whole entire life. This is all she's ever done, and it was amazing to just listen to her talk about her past and her future. She will be moving some of her killings with her to New Zealand by ship, and she and her father do plan to leave in October. So we do want to host a small farewell party and thank you party for her being such a tribute to our city with her arts and her crafts, that she has had just a historical marker for our city for many years. So we will miss that. We will be welcoming in Mr. and Mrs. Wes Moody from Salt Lake City, Utah. And he too is a fabulous glass blower, a little bit more different than Michelle, but quite talented, and we're ready for new and different. And they have purchased a home here as well. And I think their in-laws of the last week had told me that they're moving from Winchester to Berea so that they can be right here to work with them and to help with the children as well. So when we get ready to welcome them, then we certainly would appreciate your help and your support coming out to help welcome them to Berea. With that, I will close because I'm sure I'm more than 5 minutes long, and Ronnie will kill me. So, but I will take any questions or comments that you might have if you have.
Jerry?
I got a quick question. Let's back up to economic development for a minute. The median income of a family, you said, was 68. So that's 2 people working?
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Katie?
I know that since we just had the second reading of the ordinance, you're gonna be new to this position, or new again to being only focused on business development. And I know it's my bias because of my line of work, but I think one of the reasons and I understand that our budget depends on the payroll taxes from industry, but I'd really like to see a deeper commitment to small business and supporting our existing small businesses. And I feel like it's a very exciting time in Berea, and as a city with new leadership in the chamber, and like with you being able to focus more fully on business development, I really hope that we can be doing more to.
That is one of our top priorities.
Yeah, great.
to
I
do
love that. And like,
Hands-on.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you do and how you kind of use your creativity and your connections, because it's challenging to be a Main Street business these days.
It is.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I get that totally, every day. So we do need that. So thank you. Thank you, Katie.
Katie, other comments or questions for Donna? Jerry?
thing. Donna, appreciate your work. One thing I think is very important is, and you do it, is letting people know what jobs are available here in Brea. Because jobs are just so important for everybody, and just to keep everybody informed about
I will do that.
what's available.
I
Because a
will.
lot of people don't know. Thank you.
Okay.
Speaking of that, I'll add something on that I learned today, is that Commerce Lexington, which is the Bluegrass Alliance that Donna hosted a couple weeks back,
Yes.
they travel around throughout central Kentucky, but we're part of that Bluegrass Alliance. And what I found out today is they're going to open up a regional competitiveness website that includes a workforce recruiting and retention of employees page. They did a demo on it today, and one of the when I looked at it, I asked the question on where do you get that, and they pull from Indeed. So if you know anybody, the Commerce Lexington website that's going to advertise vacancies and positions that are open throughout central Kentucky are going to pull from Indeed. And if I was an employer, I would want to know that. So I know many of you are in contact with businesses that hire people, and that's one way that they can get basically free advertising, because that would be reshared to the Commerce Lexington workforce site. And I do, and I'll open it back up for questions, I do want to compliment Donna specifically on the workforce. That's one thing that we hear across the board throughout Kentucky, probably across the nation, is employers of all sizes that can't find enough employees to do the work. That's something that Donna has poured her heart and soul into for almost 5 years now, and we always find people, and that's been a really good selling point for Berea. And I think that's probably some of the reason that we've seen expansions here, because we can deliver. When they say, how am I going to find the employees, and I tell them our business development director and workforce people through the Bluegrass ad and other places have been very successful in finding those employees, and our human resources folks that Donna works with back that up, and that makes us more competitive even within our own region. So compliments to you. I think that needs to be said.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments for Donna?
I just want to say thank you for all you have done. And I get a lot of people at the Antique Mall that I used to never get that visit Berea. And I appreciate that we've been included, and the antique shops and all the businesses, that it's not just been a certain little group, that it's been all of Berea, down to the places they eat. I noticed that. I mean, big difference. And so thank you for all you do and continue to do, and we're blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cora Jane. Other questions or comments for Donna? Seeing none, Donna, thank you. Good report as always.
Thank
And you can tell Donna stays plenty busy with all those activities. Thank you, Donna. Would any other department heads like to update the council? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward to the city administrator's report, and I'll recognize City Administrator Rose Beverly. Rose, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to see you tonight, council members. So I have some news on some projects for you tonight. The RFP for the pool will go out in next week's paper. I just got off the phone before I came to our work session today with the architect, and he is confident that he will have that ready to go out. So that is good news. We really need to get that information back. The resurfacing of the basketball court is scheduled to begin next week as well. So that will be nice to get that done. And that is definitely a project that we're excited about, and it will add new life to that area down there. And finally, I don't have a lot for you tonight, but I would report based on also the information at our work session, that we talked about the RFP came in, and I was going to tabulate all of that information. Just wanting to let the public know that we did have 3 bidders for our waste collection RFP. And the first bid, this is just for the 95-gallon tote pickup, one time per week. The first bid came in from Rumpke at $23. Waste Connections, and this is just the base fee. Waste Connections came in at $17.20, and Waste Management came in at $29.16. Our current base rate with Waste Connections is $11.20. So we did have a work session earlier today, as I talked about, and I will be getting more information to the council so that a decision will be made about that RFP. That is all that I have for you tonight. I'll take
Thank you,
questions.
Rose. Katie?
Thank you for sending the department head reports. I have a couple questions about that.
Okay.
So in Amanda's notes, she said that there's going to be a housing learning session with the planning commission. Can the council also be, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be open to the public, but can the council also be made aware of that? Because that sounds like something that really aligns with things that we're thinking and talking about as well.
Yes, absolutely. And Amanda reported on that today during our department head meeting, and I think that is such an exciting opportunity. The speakers that are be coming in are going to be fantastic for that. And I think, I know that everyone that I can go to, I will, or else I'll be watching them afterwards. I think that's valuable information, and any of you that can, or in the public who can, should definitely attend those meetings.
So they'll be publicized?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want, I can ask her. I didn't bring my pen over here because
That's
I'm
fine.
usually here, but I will ask her to specifically make sure that she sends out an invitation. Thank you very much. So I will make a note of that, because I do think that would be
Cool. Seems like a
very
great
productive-
opportunity. They're going to be right here in town.
Absolutely.
And then also, just clarification, same department, department head. Under capital projects, it's talking about the basketball court, public restrooms at Memorial Park, and then it's talking about pickleball courts at Berea Arena Theater. Are we doing that?
Oh, I didn't
Or
know who
she-
was that on.
It's on Amanda.
Amanda's?
Or is it something that is not actually a capital project, it's just something they're.
Oh, that's something that they would like to do. So they want to look at that, but we actually have, and she doesn't know this yet. That's why I got confused for a second when you
Okay.
said that. But we've actually, I think, maybe have the opportunity to go in a different direction, and it's even more exciting. But I don't know if we're ready to talk about it yet. But I don't
I
know
can talk
if you'd
about
like
that
to,
in the
Bruce.
mayor's
I'm
report.
really excited
Great.
about this.
I have
It's
some
probably
pickleball fanatics who've been in touch with me, and I would love to give them some news.
This has been like the highlight of my August.
Oh my
This
gosh.
opportunity. So
Great.
I'm excited for Bruce to talk about. it.
We'll go ahead with other questions, and I'll cover that
Okay.
briefly. Other questions or comments for Rose? Seeing none, Rose, thank you. Good report.
you very much.
Appreciate it. And for the mayor's report, I will report on the pickleball tonight. One of the things that we looked at is where could we do pickleball? And park space, of course, is at a premium. Finding flat ground is at a premium. So it wasn't real apparent. And I got a call from Derek Singleton with Berea College that asked if we would be interested in going out and looking at the old U.S. Forestry building on Kentucky 21 on Big Hill Road. You'll recall that that building was torn down. Several of us went and looked to see what it would cost to refurbish that building, and it was quite expensive. And I think Berea College came to that conclusion as well and ended up tearing down the building. What that left was a huge, and Rose, I don't remember the size, but it's a huge slab foundation, concrete slab. And Derek asked if we would be interested in working with Berea College to consider that for pickleball. That's about as far along as we are right now. Rose, Public Works Director Roy Curtis, and I met with Derek on site to look at it. We think it has possibilities, but you have to design it, and it would have to be, according to what I understood, it would have to have an asphalt layer poured on the top, and it's so big that it would probably be something you would want to start small and then add on to it over time. But it also has parking spaces. Derek and I went around and just did a rough count, and there are roughly 100 parking spaces in that area with even more room, room to add parking, I should say, which makes that potential to bring people to town. That's something that we could draw in for pickleball tournaments. And I've checked with the Kentucky League of Cities, and I've been given a couple of examples of good pickleball courts that we might want to go take a look at. So at some point, probably in September, Rose and I and maybe Roy and we'll go and check out one or both of those. They gave us a couple they thought we might be interested in looking at. But that goes back to Dr. Nixon's desire to collaborate with the city. So we were really scrambling for a place. Where can we do? We want to do it, but where can we do it? Considering the limited space we have, and this was just something that showed up. This would be done very much in the same way that the Boone Trace Trail would be, where it would be college property. They would do $1 a year lease or whatever to us, and we would construct it and maintain it for public use. So I think it's a win-win, a good collaboration, and something that we definitely have to flesh out. It's not something that we have said we're doing, but it's something that we're considering and that I'm excited about, and I know Rose and Roy and Derek were all excited about it as well. So that's what I know. All right, and that's all I had for the mayor's comments, but I will open it up to Ronnie. Go ahead, Ronnie. Check your mic.
You left out the possibility of a mural going up on that wall on the back, because, I mean, it's a perfect place to have the history of Berea and Berea College and the city.
That is something that was discussed, and Derek had mentioned that they have students that are very talented that could do that probably at no cost. Something to commemorate the partnership between the city and the college but also historical or recreational type activities on that back wall would be really pretty. Good point, Ronnie.
Because it's a perfect place for it.
Agreed. That concludes my comments, and at this point I will move to council comments, and since we're down on Ronnie's end, I'll begin with Ronnie. Ronnie, you have the floor.
I want to tell you, out at the roundabout, those wooden posts, they've got it ready for the metal post, but they've got it done. It's just a matter of getting the metal posts, and we don't know where it'll be 50 days or 100 days on getting them posts. I mean, we're just lucky to get where we're at now, but I hope we get them soon, because that wood and that steel pole, them metal poles look a whole lot better than wood. So that's it.
Thank you, Ronnie. Next we'll move to Core Jane Wilson. Core Jane.
Thanks everybody for coming, chamber speaking, all the guests, and I don't really have any comments except have a great night.
Thank you, Core Jane. Steve Cottle.
No
Steve.
comment.
Thank you, sir. Jerry Little.
I want to talk about the surplus sale. You know, that's just stuff we've got left over we don't use or need to, that we don't use anymore. But for anybody that don't know how to get on that, it's online. You can't, it's got to be bid online, and it's governmentdeal.com. And you go to governmentdeal.com, and then you put Berea, Kentucky in, and it pulls it up and shows what's for sale. So that's, you can't, it's got to be bought online. That's what I mean. Now, I'm sure you could probably make arrangements if you wanted to look at it, you know, to go down to there, but governmentdeal.com.
And it's govdeals.com.
Yeah, yeah,
Govdeals.com.
deals, yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Jerry.
all I've got. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, Jerry. Katie Startzman. Katie.
Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce folks for joining us tonight, and thanks to all of you who organized the meet and greet with the candidates. I think that's such an important thing, so I appreciate those of you all who have gotten that set up, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thank you, Katie. Teresa Centers.
Well, I'm grateful for Susan and all her work, and that we will be able to reduce the tax rate once again. That's a phenomenal thing, and I want to thank Kevin and his crew for being so prompt in the outage last week. About an hour we were out and back on, and I know I had relatives just down the road who were on a different service who went out about when we didn't get back on till midnight, but y'all do such a phenomenal job, and we really appreciate it. And Danielle, welcome. and I know you're gonna do a wonderful job, and thank you to every member of the Chamber of Commerce and the board, and to the Tourism Commission as well for being here tonight. And Donna, thank you for all you do. You all have a good week.
Thank you, Teresa. And for the last word, Jim Davis. Jim.
Greg, thank you for your work over 40 years and keeping us informed on what's going on. It's been I sit on the, what do I sit on? Yeah, I go out there to those meetings, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of 3 years. It's amazing. Donna, thank you for all your effort. Look forward to more efforts from you. Thank you. Who else? Oh, Danielle, thank you for coming. Welcome to the chamber. And what's that woman to your left? That's it.
All right, Jim, thank you. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By Steve Cottle. Is there a second? By Cora Jane Wilson. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye. All opposed, please say no.